Okay, time for our last chapter, Chapter 15, The Future of Sport Governance. Sports organizations are good illustrations of the importance of change, and they are constantly changing. We've talked about that for the last year. Some areas where change and adaptation are important is changes to environmental factors, recycling when we can, for example, changes to economics and pressure of economic survival, and the globalization of business practices. And we've talked about globalization from a standpoint that trying to get like the NFL playing in London is an example of globalization. So we need change within the organization. It can be planned or strategic. It could occur in an organization's structures and systems, an organization's personnel, an organization's products and services, or technology supporting the organization. So pressures from change, there's events occurring within the organization. Are there factors arising outside the organization? Or is it an interaction between external and internal factors? So planned change, it's the systematic development and initiation of new modes of operating to gain competitive advantage. And the goals can be either financial or organizational. So what's the process that we should use to get the organization to change? We can request the change, diagnose or accept the problem, find solutions to problems and define the course of action, and initiate change through sets of individual recommendations. So how do you feel about change generally? Do you adapt well to changes in your life? Most people are, the thing I've probably heard the most in my life is, but we've always done it this way. Well, that's a hindrance to change. We can't think like that, or we'll never make anything better. How do you feel about the statement that the future of sport will be full of changes? As a future sports manager, is this something you embrace? What do you think? Okay, future issues. Scholastic sport, many opportunities for participation, which leads to more competitive climate. A reevaluation of purpose of high school sports. Definitions of amateurism, which we've talked about in the battle for pay, opportunities for students with disabilities, and it always comes down to money. Amateur sport in the community, kids and digital technology is an issue. Maintain the current breadth of programming. One of the things that always seems to be cut is sporting events. Competing for resources, human and financial. Future industry, campus recreation. We have to balance our service and our customer care issues while managing all user groups. Increases in facilities, professional staff, and programming. There's shrinking resources, risk management, and access issues. Intercollegiate athletics, the role of college athletic programs in higher education, the fairness, equity, and corruption and control. Should we be paying these athletes, and the impact of technology? As far as major games and amateur sports, we have to worry about the security of participants and spectators. The governance structures must be able to manage this in a timely manner. The Olympic Games, the Olympic Agenda 2021 now, study the size, the cost, and complexity of the games, implement recent reforms, audit operations and financial administration, monitor environmental impact of the games. The Paralympic Games, developing new talent, illegal performance enhancement, just like many other sports, technological advances, security, and the UN Treaty on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So moving on to professional sport leagues, misconduct, technology, labor issues, increasing globalization. The individual professional sports, we have participation rates, technology, grassroots development, fair play, financial commitments. In sports beyond North America, we have financial issues, esports, and technology. So based on all the future issues discussed, which do you feel would be the most challenging for sport managers, athletes, and participants? Well, right now is probably the hugest one of all going on, that we are, all sporting games are canceled There has been a lot of old games played, but it's not the same. And how will that affect sport? We've talked about the fact that sport is paid for with discretionary income. Nobody's working right now. Well, at least most people aren't working right now. So how will that affect their ability to buy sporting tickets? Something to think about.